Okay, so there's this random bird that shows up in my feed sometimes and starts psychologically torturing me as it teaches me history. And I decided if I have to suffer, so do you. So let's see what it has to say about war this time.
Hey, psst, come here.
Ew, captains, no. Unless y'all want to, just let me know for the future. Also, how does he know what my room looks like?
Come here, come here.
I'm here.
Listen, I get it. Doing the same thing day in and day out can get a little dull after a while.
Uh,
Shooting people with guns, charging peasants on
I don't like the arm. It's too veiny.
cavalry, firebombing cities with airplanes. Engaging in your run-of-the-mill warfare can kind of start to lose that thrill. And so, hey,
It has gotten a bit boring, I'll admit.
it's perfectly natural to get a little stir-crazy and start craving a bit of whimsy with your slaughter. Don't you worry, champ. That's where I come in. I'm a grade A certified whimsical murder expert. Keep the credentials. Today, all your problems, minus those hemorrhoids, will be solved, because we're going to learn about some of the wackiest war tactics used in history. For the fourth time.
Each one gets more sadistic than the last. When did he grow the arm?
As the curtain began to close on World War II, the United States was looking to butter up the Japanese populace to the proposition of a wee little ground invasion.
Okay,
After all, why
that's
waste
a bit
money
loud. Just 1 second.
attacking a person's body with real bullets when you can attack their mind with mind bullets? Psychological warfare was the name of the game for the new unit under the United States Joint Intelligence Center Pacific
Yeah, why kill your enemy when you can just destroy them?
Ocean areas. I know, quite the mouthful. So thankfully it's an acronym that just rolls off the tongue. JICPOA. With those Yankees enjoying a comfortable lead
Not the worst acronym I've ever heard, honestly. At least that kind of sort of makes a word.
at this point, they were allowed some leniency to emote on the enemy a little bit, encouraging their PSYOPs officers to puke out any proposals that come to mind, quote, no matter how ludicrous. Dangerous words for young American males between the ages of 18 and 35, as with enough time, boredom, and government funding, we've seen what kind of antics they're capable of. Stuff like
I remember when that happened. I kind of wish I'd gotten in on that, but I had the chance. I thought it wasn't going to go anywhere. I was fucking retarded. Don't be like me.
propaganda leaflet drops and loudspeakers around the clock already did an adequate job slapping frowns on civilians. But this is America we're talking about.
Yeah, surprisingly, in war, just yelling at your opponent can be quite effective. It does go a long way to demoralize them when you're, just shouting their impending loss and doom at them constantly.
Whether it's warfare or CTE compilations, anything less than number one won't cut it. And from this desire for greatness came a proposal for a PSYOPs mission that was sure to rattle the Japanese to their core. What if the Americans dyed Mount Fuji black? And for those who aren't aware, Mount stands for mountain.
So by the end of the war, I guess they were just so. Yeah, let's make a natural wonder and just paint it. Maybe that'll get them to surrender faster.
While it might come off ridiculous, in their defense, this was playing to their strengths, as in the 1940s, Americans were the unrivaled champs at dyeing white things black. Mount Fuji might seem like a random choice, but it actually makes a lot
I wasn't expecting him to go there.
of sense as a target, serving as a sacred point of guidance for all kinds of people. For their government, it guided their messaging honors, for America, it guided their long-range bombers, and for the locals, it served as a spiritual guide for their sense of identity. A beautiful lone peak in the sky, epitomizing the symbolic heart for East Asian prosperity.
Yeah, when I was in Tokyo, I got the chance to see Mount Fuji. I wasn't able to go to it, but it is very beautiful. if I am remembering correctly, there is a shrine in Mount Fuji where the sun goddess Amaterasu supposedly hid when she was going through a depression episode. I'd have to I'd have to review it to remember the specifics, but apparently she wasn't having a good time, and so she went in there to sulk. So yeah.
Reading all this big talk about some random hill, I felt like I was missing out, so I decided to check it out for myself to see what all the fuss was about. Now this trip's a tax write-off. To properly understand the dire implications of this
Oh shit. If I take a vacation for stream, I can write it off on my taxes? Hell yeah.
proposal, imagine how you'd feel if someone defaced our holiest peak, the Bass Pro Shop in Memphis, Tennessee. That's right, not a happy camper, are we? This mission, while simple in concept, would be quite the undertaking, requiring extensive personnel, aircraft, and supplies to dye Mount Fuji, which, I'd like to reiterate, stands for mountain. In a since declassified memo, it's described rather thoroughly why this plan would be a bad idea. First,
you know, they say faith can move mountains, so I see no reason why with an equal amount of faith, you can't drop a bunch of ink on it.
Firstly, the surface area to be dyed is a whopping 370 square miles, or the equivalent to painting 473 billion gumballs. Second, those who visited Mount Fuji know it's only visible for roughly 20% of the year, making it a rather difficult sell when your multi-million-dollar military project is defeated by something as simple as a cloud. Thirdly, even if successful,
I mean, the clouds are also why we bombed Nagasaki, which was actually the secondary target.
Desecrating a sacred symbol could have the unintended side effect of, you know, pissing them off even more, providing the perfect story for Japanese propagandists to work overtime. But all of these pale in comparison to my favorite.
Oh, that's right. Actions have consequences. Yeah, I gotta remember that for next time.
Reason why this wouldn't be a good idea. And when they wake up in the morning and see it, they'll lose their shit. And when it snows. What's that? And when it snows, what then? Snows? Why do you think it's currently white? Because it was born that way? It's because the high altitude combines low air pressure with low temperatures to create an environment of frequent snowfall. So tell me, what do you plan to do when it snows?
We fucking dye it again.
Paint it again? Actually, the approval papers are right here. I'm not signing those. Okay. You know, I really enjoy these history talks we have. No, I do. I really do. You, me, the kid. We've spent so much time together over the years, I feel like I've started to lose track of where my body ends and where yours begins. It's like you're the corner piece to my puzzle that I never knew I was missing.
Mr. Blue Jay, please don't look at me like that. You're not my type. I can do so much better.
But now that you're here, the rest of the picture just starts to make sense.
By the way, you never told me. What's your mother's maiden name? Stop! Do not fall for the irresistible charm of this incredibly gorgeous damsel. The internet is a dangerous place filled with sharks hungry for your personal info, which is why you need a bigger shark to protect you. A Surfshark VPN. Yes, I'm still wearing the lipstick because sex sells.
Oh, yay. Another VPN ad.
Anytime you're not using a VPN, your data is vulnerable to hackers and snoopers like me. Her. Surfshark protects your online activity by encrypting your information, scaring off would-be evildoers just like, you know, a shark. Like any good predatory fish, it's more than just sharp teeth. It can block both ads and trackers to make sure you're shown fair prices when online shopping. But I know, it's hard to think when you're all tired from hauling 6,000 miles of Ethernet cable to watch your shows on vacation. Right, Larry? Larry? Well, not anymore. Surfshark lets you change your IP location to watch content from all different kinds of country streaming libraries. So
yeah, when I was in Japan, I got a VPN so I could access American Netflix and Japanese Netflix. Honestly, Japanese Netflix has a lot of really good anime, so do with that information as you will, I guess.
Those coral reefs can breathe a sigh of relief because now you can watch what you want, where you want, without having to destroy the environment. Well, you still can if you want.
Yay!
Right now, if you go to surfshark.com/bluejay or enter code BLUEJAY at checkout, you can get an extra 4 months free of Surfshark VPN. That's surfshark.com/bluejay. And now, back to the video.
Okay, so word of warning, guys. For all you fellas out there, if a woman starts asking you for personal information, it's not because she's trying to get to know you. We all know women aren't real. It is a scam.
As you're probably aware, the United States thought better of barbarically coating the skyline in black paint, instead opting for the moral high ground by pursuing other options. Like painting the sky white. What, that story not good enough for you? Well, what if I told you I had 2 stories in which the United States considered waging psychological warfare against the Japanese mainland via the desecratory painting of symbols sacred to their culture?
I'd be surprised that it's only 2. I honestly thought there would be more.
Well, do you? Yes, I have 2 stories. While them Jigpua boys had their fair share of fun, they were still only small fries compared to the big leagues of the silly goose intel world. The OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, was the precursor to the CIA minus the crack trafficking. A World War II entourage of espionage and sabotage, boasting quite the spy collage of wacky antic camouflage. Amongst its 13,000 members was psychological warfare strategist Ed Salinger, a man with valuable insight of Japanese culture, garnered through his time running a
Wasn't the OSS also the organization in the Spy Kid movies? It's a really weird creative choice there.
war business in Tokyo. He learned their language, studied their history, and consumed their art without any subtitles.
Truly a man after my own heart, then.
In other words, Ed was the ripest fruit on the weeb tree, and he was confident he knew how to obliterate Japanese morale. Kitsune is the Japanese word for fox, and serves as a warning of doom not only in Shinto folklore, but also for the pleb sitting next to me in Street Fighter.
And also, like, half of all female VTubers these days. I mean, I really can't complain about it. Mugalana is my Oshi, so God bless Japan.
This in mind, Salinger came up with Operation Fantasia, a plan to spook the Japanese public by exposing them to artificial fox-shaped spirits in the wild. And therein lies the main obstacle. How do you do that? Salinger's first idea was to craft some fox...
I mean, yeah, that is kind of the big question on all these plans. Anybody can come up with a good idea. Can you figure out how to actually fucking do it?
like balloons, which, depending on the shape, could be terrifying in different ways. If we're talking balloon animals, that may work well for those with clown phobias, but if it's rectangular, now it looks like a furry's body pillow, and signifies a convention is within smelling distance. But either way, sending balloons would probably be a bad idea, as you'd just be giving Japan more ammo. Furthermore, Salinger sourced a company to manufacture, quote, artificial fox odors, along with a whistle company to create a fox-sounding instrument. The idea was to equip soldiers with these contraptions in order to terrify Japanese troops on the battlefield. You know, the ones who aren't fazed by solid metal approaching at 600 miles per hour. Also, this strategy heavily relies on the presumption that the Japanese just happen to know what a fox smells and or sounds like. And considering 1.2 billion people today still don't know, I wouldn't put much confidence in this plan.
Ah, shit!
Martyr team awaiting coordinates.
I don't know!
The fuck? Azimuth 310, range 300? Direct hit.
These ideas,
I mean, there are quite a few foxes in Japan. I mean, otherwise they probably wouldn't have come up with the idea of a fox spirit. But yeah, it's not like they're walking around all over the place as much as I wish they were.
were later abandoned, and instead, the OSS opted to scoop up wild foxes from China and Australia, spray paint them all spooky and glowing, and dump them in backyards in Japan. Now, class, what do we know about glow-in-the-dark paint circa 1940s America?
Ooh, radioactive.
They're radioactive, right? Yes. How are you alive, Doctor? I blew up. Yes, the luminous property of early paints was thanks to your friendly basement-dwelling neighbor, radium. The spicy rock, famous for its bone-fracturing, bone-cancering, bone-flacciding properties.
Yeah, it got famous because of the radium girls. there was this watch company that would use radium paint to paint its watch faces, and they hired primarily females for this job, and they would actually use the paint for makeup. I'll let you figure out what using radioactive makeup does to you.
All of which, by the way, was well known by the 1940s. Hey honey, look, a glowing fox.
Huh, would you look at that?
Yeah, pretty neat. My jaw hurts. One of the first puzzles to solve was making sure the paint stayed
Fucking Fallout in World War II.
on the foxes throughout their undercover missions. So Salinger posed the question to a Central Park vet who didn't have a fox, but close enough, lathering up their trash ninja and
I mean, honestly, with the raccoons around me, I'd be more afraid of them than a fox. I tried to take my trash out the other night. I go to the dumpster, and I swear those things were eyeing me. They were ready for a fight.
cancer sauce, they kept it caged and hidden from the public eye for a few days to see if the paint would wear off, bribing the little critter with food as payment for its services, which is a pretty bad deal unless they fed it something like quesaritos. I'd take a stage or 4 for that shit slaps. The result of the experiment was a success, as in the paint did stay on the raccoon, although I have no idea what state the little guy was in after spending days wrapped in a blanket of alpha particles.
Yeah, I was about to say, did the raccoon even have a pulse at the end of this?
We'd have to run it again to know for sure. Odds are it'd just get riddled with cancer, but maybe it'd start talking so we can finally get Sly Cooper 5. Now we have.
Yeah, I don't think PETA would approve of this. Not that I care what PETA thinks, but in this case, I think they and I would be on the same page.
We have the foxes, we have the cancer paint, but the big question remains. Is it spooky? Well, luckily, no American weapon development is
Spooky, scary, glowing foxes and shiver down your spine.
complete without a live test on friendly civilians, especially when radiation is involved. So the OSS got to work developing an experiment. So you want to dump foxes in a park in the middle of Washington, D.C. during the dead of night to see if people shit themselves. Yes, sir. And this is for the war. For a psychological weapon, yes. Yeah, I think you know I can't authorize live weapons testing on civilians. Psychological, sir, a psychological weapon, and we've already come so far. We've tried whistles, scents, the radium paint worked on a raccoon. I'm sorry, they're radioactive? That's right. Let's release 30. In the middle of the night, the OSS scattered 30 radioactive foxes in DC.
Oh my god, they actually went through with it. Yeah, remember this come November when you go to the ballot box. These are the people that want to tell you how to live your life.
Rock Creek Park to get a vibe check on their efficacy. The results were everything they could have hoped for, with people's reactions ranging from stupefied to terrified as the sight of aliens proved too much for the American mind to handle, especially since they lack citizenship. It worked so well, in fact, that one park goer even reported it to the National Park Police, and looking into the hullabaloo,
wait, we have a national park police? That's probably the most surprising thing about this video so far.
they described the atmosphere as, quote, horrified citizens, shocked by the sudden sight of leaping ghost-like animals, fled from the dark recesses of the park with the screaming Jeemies.
Horrified citizens, shocked by the sudden sight of leaping ghost-like animals, fled from the dark recesses of the park with the screaming Jeemies. It read like poetry right up into those last two words. What is a screaming Jeemie?
Now, to smuggle the foxes into Japan, the OSS planned to launch them frogman style by shoving them off a boat and having them swim to shore, but they weren't even sure that foxes could swim all that well, so it was time for another test.
Well, I guess we'll just have to ask Alana how well she can swim.
Operation Take Foxes on a Boat to the middle of Chesapeake Bay and kick them into the seawater.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the actual operation name. Like, I would be more surprised if it wasn't.
The bay, by the way, is 2.8 miles wide. At its narrowest. At its widest, this bad boy stretches 30 miles from side to side. So if they truly yeeted these foxes in the middle of Chesapeake Bay, they're looking at a quintuple ultra triathlon after getting the Mad Max treatment, all while hopefully not looking like gummy worms to anything swimming below. The
VA had decided it is not service related.
news is they did make it to shore, but the bad news is they essentially had a multi-hour bath, so whatever paint didn't wash off was licked off by the tired little soldiers. The only option now was to release the foxes directly onto land, but we still had to make sure that they would even encounter people in the first place. Luckily, in one memo, Salinger offers us insight on how he planned to ensure this, saying, if enough foxes are released, some will get through, and if not even that worked, he was prepared to just go fuck it and
Yeah, if we send enough of them, surely some of them are gonna run into people.
send in minks and raccoons and shit. Seeing as how none of these are even native to Japan, I guess they would see them as an omen of tourism, which may actually end up terrifying them even more. And if not even that,
Wait, I thought foxes did live in Japan. Let me Google that real fast. Foxes live in Japan. Yeah, there are two native species of fox in Japan: the red fox and the Ezo red fox. I I'm not sure what the difference between a Japanese red fox and an Ezo red fox is. But there are foxes, and that is the important thing. And they are cute, and I want to hug and pet them.
worked, Salinger planned to go with a new type of kitsune that would be even more terrifying than a regular fox, stating, we have made a stuffed fox with a human skull affixed to his head, equipped with a simple mechanical device for raising and lowering the jaw so as to simulate the opening and closing of the mouth of the skull. This stuffed figure will be painted to give the same luminous effect as in the case of the live foxes. This monstrosity would then be stapled to a balloon or kite and flown high above Japanese villages. And if not even that worked, Salinger was like, hey, what if we just ditch this whole fox thing entirely? Suggesting they snag some Japanese
They were so dedicated to the idea of haunted foxes.
people and have them go all apeshit, pretending to be possessed by fox spirits. The training
I mean, the CIA did something very similar in the Philippines with vampires.
of which I would have loved to see. No, stop! I need to believe you're a fox. Run it again. No, again! What do you want from me? We've been at this for hours. I'm tired. I haven't seen my family in days, and I will not stand for any more of your ridiculous abuse! You're ready. Obviously, none of this ended up
How does this bird come up with this stuff?
happening, and upon the project's cancellation, many colleagues, and probably foxes, breathed a sigh of relief. In later years, historians have reflected on the operation as an example of the Japanese racism and cultural ignorance that plagued American leadership, as Japan's superstitions with stuff like the kitsune were really no different than what you'd find in Western folklore. So if a Japanese person did stumble upon a glowing fox in the wild, in reality, they'd probably do what an American would do. Cash in on ad revenue, baby. Now, for the next tactic,
Yeah, I mean, the Japanese are very traditional people. They take their history and religion and mythology very seriously. But they are still a perfectly rational people. If they saw a glowing fox, their first thought probably would not be, "Oh, it's a kitsune." It'd be something closer to, "Why the fuck is this fox glowing? What the hell is going on? Am I going to get sick?"
what if I told you I had 3 stories in which the United States considered waging psychological warfare against the Japanese mainland via the desecratory painting of symbols sacred to their
Like I said, I'm surprised it's only 3.
culture? I don't. That'd be crazy. I was gonna say.
Oh.
What are you? Ethereal Auditor, you're late on your Centennial Alex report. Oh, that thing? You guys thought I was serious? Well, in that case, your accord protects us. Remember, kids, no magical pact is safe from a 300-pound crossbow. While we're moving away from the fun world of PsyOps, this next story does still involve Japan in World War II. 1942 was not a fun time to be stationed in a Pacific European colony. For the
Yeah, this was a little before 1942, but the attack on Pearl Harbor was actually the more or less the starting pistol for a series of offensives. Ugh. I swear, guys, English is not my second language. Pearl Harbor was the beginning of a series of attacks throughout the Pacific, in which the Japanese attacked basically all of this stuff here, and basically tried to take it as quickly as possible. The early days led to some of the most brutal fighting of the war, including the Battle of Singapore, which was a absolute disaster for the British stationed there. I don't see it on this map, but I'm also horrible at geography, so I could just be completely missing it. I'm good. I know a lot about history, just don't ask for me to point at it on a map.
Imperial Japanese Navy was hungry for islands, and they set their eyes on the tasty stroopwafel dessert that was the island of Java in the Dutch East Indies. On February 27th, the Battle of the Java Sea ensued, with the Allies suffering a crushing defeat. After a few
I mean, at least they weren't going to run out of coffee anytime soon. They were in the literal sea of Java.
more scuffles, all remaining Allied ships were ordered to flee to Australia, including the humble HNLMS Abraham Crinzen, who from now on I will just refer to as Abraham or Abe because screw that. A meager little minesweeper, the Abraham was one of 4 Dutch ships stuck behind enemy lines. None of these vessels really put the fair in warfare, so upon receiving the order to flee, one decided to scuttle their ship, 2 scurried off, but the Abe decided to go another route. The ship was less than 200 feet long, and only armed with 1 3-inch gun, 2 20 mils, and some bombs. While enough toys for 18-year-olds to not get bored, not ideal for going full Rambo on the land of the rising sun. The stakes were high, the atmosphere was tense, and when you're under that much pressure, I find the best thing to do is ask yourself, what would Bill Gates do? That's right.
Buy up all the farm he can?
He'd run to the island. The Abraham's genius idea was to disguise their entire ship with nets, branches, and brush to give off the appearance of an island. Looking good, looking good. Private, what is this? Well, sir, it's not an island without a pina colada stand. This is insubordination, Private. We are sailors of the Royal Netherlands Navy, goddammit. We drink Singapore slings. Now, you might be thinking, how could someone not notice a floating island cruising by at 15 knots?
I mean, when you're on the open ocean, you can see basically as far as your eyes can physically go. So if it's far enough away, I can see how this would work. I mean, once you get up close, I would think it's going to cause a lot of problems if you have to actually fight. But you can always just try not to get in a fight in the first place.
And to you, I'd say, have you ever noticed an island moving? Exactly, they're quite sneaky. Forget birds aren't real, islands aren't real. They're all Dutch naval ships lying in wait to re-establish the former glory of the Dutch East India Company. In reality, the Abraham couldn't have asked for a better environment to attempt this stunt. The Indonesian archipelago is home to roughly 18,000 islands, meaning the Abe would essentially be playing a game of prop hunt with the Japanese. Take that, Call of Duty haters. Looks like the game is more realistic than you thought. With the ship painted and foliage in place, the plan was to remain anchored quiet and still by islands during the day before desperately hopping to their next hiding spots at night. But before they could take off on the
so they were basically island hopping just without fighting. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can see how this would work.
This risky mission, Lieutenant Commander Anthony von Meert gave his crew the option to stay behind. And any man who does not wish to sail on this journey shall not be forced to do so. Yes. If we stay, do we have to wear fursuits? It's not a fursuit, it's island camouflage. And yes, half of the ship's crew
Yeah, that's what they all say.
chose to remain behind, and shortly after, the Abraham took off on their tactical stealth quest. Originally, they had planned to join up with the other 2 ships who raced off before, but decided against it due to their lack of camo. This would end up being the right call, as one of them would run out of fuel, while the other was caught and sunk by a Japanese destroyer. For 5 whole days, the Abraham nervously snuck her way through the islands, praying that the disguise would work and that the Japanese-filled region would remain oblivious to her presence. Sir, are we sure this is an island? It's not on the map. Let's check it out. You know, AI content is the future. Looks like nothing but animals here, sir. Miraculously, the camouflage worked like a charm, and thanks to her stunt, the Abraham was the only ship of her class to survive the escape. Earning several sailors, the Dutch crossed.
I love going to ship museums. They are always really cool. The last one I went to was the USS Midway. It was really cool, and it had a very interesting history.
Cross of merit, for it was thanks to their ingenuity that the Abraham succeeded in her voyage without ever arousing the suspicions of the Japanese Navy. Well, at least not until later. I fucking knew it! Wacky War Tactics Part 4, 10 out of 10 stars.
Oh god, what else does he have to say? Oh god, what's happening now? Oh,
Hey gamers,
neat.
I'm doing a streaming marathon of every Half-Life and Portal game right now on Twitch and on my second channel, RedJ. I'll be going live every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Time, so make sure to come hang out and watch, because I might be announcing Half-Life 3.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys want to see more of his stuff, just let me know in the comments. Go ahead and give his channel a watch. He makes some really interesting stuff and has just such a unique sense of humor. If you like this video, do me a favor and like and subscribe. Tell me what you want to see in the comments. Check out my Twitch channel for streams every Saturday. I'm currently playing through Assassin's Creed 3. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.